You ever get that? Like something feels off, but is it actually a big deal?
Happens all the time, right?
Totally. And our listener sent us a good one. What's the deal with the numb tongue?
Oh, yeah. Turns out there are a ton of reasons, some
Yeah.
totally harmless, some, well, not so much.
Exactly. And that's why we're diving into this article. 7 potential causes of a numb or tingling tongue.
Smart move, because this isn't about self-diagnosing. It's about knowing when to actually worry.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, especially with health stuff.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of things to take seriously, this article starts strong strokes and TIAs.
Okay, yeah, those are definitely call 911 situations.
Absolutely. And I've heard that phrase, time is brain, when it comes to strokes, and it's scary accurate.
So true. Every second counts.
Because what's happening is the blood supply to part of your brain gets cut off. So those
Hmm.
brain cells are literally starved for oxygen.
And a TIA is like a mini stroke.
Exactly. Symptoms are temporary, but it's a huge warning sign, like a shot across the bow.
So even if the tingling goes away, still get it checked out.
100%. And it's not just about the tongue. Sudden weakness or numbness, especially on one side, confusion, trouble speaking, vision changes, dizziness, loss of balance, or a sudden severe headache. Any of those, call 911. Don't wait.
No messing around. Okay, so what else can cause this tingly tongue besides those scarier things?
Sometimes it's the things that sneak up on you. Like, ever had a weird reaction to, say, food or medicine?
Oh, you mean like an allergy?
Bingo. Severe allergic reactions or anaphylaxis can definitely cause tongue numbness. It's your body's way of saying, uh-oh, something's really wrong.
Wow, I never knew that. So we've got strokes, allergic reactions. What's next on the list of potential culprits?
Well, this one might surprise you. It's low calcium.
Wait, really? I always thought calcium was for bones, not taste buds.
Right. But it turns out low calcium or hypocalcemia can cause all sorts of weird symptoms.
Like what should people be on the lookout for?
Well, the article mentions bruising as a possible sign. Easy bruising can be a sign of low calcium, and it might be connected to that numb tongue feeling.
Huh, that's so interesting. I never would have put those two together. It's amazing how much we don't know about our own bodies. Okay, so we've covered strokes, allergic reactions, low calcium. What else?
Well, speaking of things that can throw our bodies off balance, let's talk about low blood sugar.
Oh, right. And I know from your profile that you're interested in diabetes, so this is right up your alley.
Totally. It's super common for people with diabetes, but anyone can experience hypoglycemia, especially if they're skipping meals, exercising intensely, or, having one too many margaritas.
Okay, so low blood sugar, got it. What kind of weird sensations can that cause in your mouth?
So, along with the usual suspects, shakiness, dizziness, some people describe a metallic taste in their mouth when their blood sugar plummets.
A metallic taste. That's so strange. I've never heard of that before.
It's one of those weird things that our bodies do sometimes. But it's a good reminder that even seemingly random symptoms can be clues to what's going on beneath the surface.
It's like our bodies are trying to send us a message, but they're speaking a different language.
Exactly. And speaking of languages our bodies use, what about those B vitamins?
Oh, right. I know B vitamins are important for energy and stuff, but how do they tie into this whole tongue numbness thing?
Well, for one, certain medications, like metformin, which is often prescribed for diabetes, can actually interfere with B vitamin absorption. And guess what? A B vitamin deficiency can manifest as, you guessed it, tongue numbness.
Wow, that's fascinating. So someone taking metformin for diabetes might be more prone to a B vitamin deficiency, which could then lead to a numb tongue. That's like a domino effect.
Exactly. Our bodies are these incredibly complex systems, and sometimes those systems interact in unexpected ways.
It's like a delicate dance, and when one thing gets out of whack, it can throw everything off balance.
Well said. And speaking of things that can throw us off balance, both literally and figuratively, let's talk about migraines.
Migraines, those are no joke, but how do they connect to a numb tongue?
So migraines are more than just a headache. They can involve a whole constellation of sensory disturbances. And for some people, tongue numbness can actually be an early warning sign, part of what's called an aura. So before the headache hits, they might experience tingling or numbness in their tongue, along with other weird sensations.
Wow, I never knew that. I always thought the headache was the main event with migraines.
It often is, but those pre-headache symptoms can be really valuable clues. They're like little whispers from our bodies trying to tell us something's up.
Fascinating. I'm learning so much today. So we've covered strokes, allergic reactions, low calcium, low blood sugar, B vitamin deficiencies, and migraines. Anything else we should add to our list of potential tongue-numbing culprits?
You know, it's interesting. This article also points out that sometimes the answer is a lot simpler and more universal than we might think.
Like what? Spill the tea.
It's something we all experience from time to time, something that can manifest in our bodies in some pretty surprising ways. Anxiety.
Really? Anxiety can cause a numb tongue.
You bet. When we're stressed or anxious, our bodies go into that fight or flight mode. Our heart races, our palms get sweaty, and sometimes we experience sensory changes, like that tingly or numb feeling in our tongue.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like our bodies have a mind of their own sometimes.
They definitely do. And it just goes to show how interconnected our mental and physical health truly are.
This deep dive has been eye-opening. We've covered so much ground, from those call 911 scenarios to the more everyday experiences that we might not even think twice about. And speaking of things we might not think twice about.
What's that?
Like, seriously, what else could it be?
Right. Okay, so get this burning mouth syndrome.
Burning mouth syndrome. Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. Literally, it causes this burning or stinging feeling, usually in the tongue, but sometimes the whole mouth.
Oof, that sounds super unpleasant. I bet spicy food is out of the question.
You can say that again. And while we're on the topic of, well, things that sound kind of scary, the article also mentions multiple sclerosis, or MS.
MS, right. I know it affects the nervous system, but...
Exactly. It's a chronic condition, so tongue numbness can be one of many symptoms. And get this, the article throws in Raynaud's syndrome, too, which messes with blood flow.
Hold up, Raynaud's? Isn't that the one where your fingers change color in the cold?
Yep, that's the one. Weird, right? Our bodies are wild.
Totally wild. So if a numb tongue can have all these causes, imagine what explains color-changing fingers. Okay, back to the tongue. What else?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Oh, and this one's kind of obvious in hindsight. Nerve damage, like after dental work.
Oh, no, totally. I had my wisdom teeth out years ago, and
Don't tell me you had the numb tongue.
thankfully, no. But my jaw, lips, that whole area was numb for ages. Like, half my face was asleep.
I can only imagine.
What?
But it makes sense. Nerves are sensitive. Any little trauma, and they're like, hold up, got to repair.
So true. Okay, we've covered a lot. Strokes, allergies, low calcium, low blood sugar, B vitamins, migraines, anxiety, burning mouth syndrome, MS, Raynaud's, even nerve damage. That's wild.
It is a lot, right?
Oh.
Just shows how complex our bodies are. And this is why we always say,
This isn't about self-diagnosing. It's just about understanding what could be going on.
exactly. Knowledge is power, but it's not a replacement for, an actual doctor.
100%. So, speaking of doctors, when is a numb tongue actually worth a visit? When should someone pick up the phone?
Great question. And luckily, the article gives some solid advice. First of all, anything that seems like a stroke or serious allergic reaction, those are immediate 911 calls. No hesitation.
Absolutely. But what about less urgent stuff? What are the red flags?
Right, so even if it's not an emergency, see a doctor if the numbness is super persistent, if it keeps coming back, if there's any severe pain along with it, or if it's really messing with your life, like eating or talking. Basically, if it's more than just a fleeting weirdness, get it checked out.
Makes total sense. Trust your gut. Now, this might sound random, but we've talked about what causes a numb tongue, but what about how it affects taste?
Oh, that's a great point. Taste is such a big part of, well, enjoying food, but also like our whole sensory experience.
Totally. And we've all had those moments where, like, a cold makes food taste bland, but imagine that all the time.
I know, right? Our sense of taste is so powerful. It's not just pleasure. Either it helps us detect if something's gone bad, it influences what we want to eat. It's even tied to memory and emotion.
It's true. Certain smells or tastes can take me right back to my childhood. It's wild. So it makes you wonder.
It does, doesn't it?
Makes you wonder if losing taste, even for a bit, changes how we see food,
Totally. Does it make us appreciate those flavors more when they're back? Or do we realize how much of eating is, like, emotional, tied to memories?
Right. It's like we take taste for granted until it's gone. Kind of deep when you think about it.
Totally. And it reminds me, we always talk about treating the cause, not just the symptom. Right.
100%. So a numb tongue isn't just about the weird feeling. It's like a clue. Our body trying to tell us something's up.
Exactly. Sometimes it's subtle, that tingling, the taste off, but sometimes it's big, like those stroke symptoms we talked about.
Right, those don't mess around situations. Which is why, again, this isn't about self-diagnosing, it's about being informed.
Exactly. If you're worried, especially if it's constant or other things are happening too.
See a doctor. Don't just tough it out.
100%. They'll figure it out, get you back to enjoying your meals and all that good stuff.
Exactly. Okay, so Wow, we covered a lot today. Who knew a numb tongue could be so complicated?
Right. Goes to show our bodies are full of surprises, but that's kind of the fun of it, yeah.
Totally. Uncovering those mysteries, realizing how much we don't know, makes you appreciate the complexity of it all.
And how interconnected everything is. It's wild.
Totally. So next time you feel that weird tingle, remember this chat, trust your gut, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Because the most unexpected things can lead to the coolest discoveries about ourselves.
100%. That's what we love about these deep dives. So until next time, stay curious, everyone.
And take care of those tongues.